Oh, hello there. Yes, Bank Holiday Monday, the last of me. Few days off. Boo and indeed hiss. I like days off. Why? Because they're usually fun. That's why. Anyway, yes, today, just a sort of quick update. The libertarian media this morning, like Julia Hartley Brewer, got her on in the background interviewing John Redwood, as you do, again and again and again and again, are obviously discussing children and face masks in schools, which has become the kind of burning hot issue of the day. I'm slightly perplexed by this whole notion that we cannot have children in schools with face masks on. They have to be in schools because we must ignore COVID because it's anyway the numbers yesterday went down slightly, so therefore it's nothing to worry about. They have to be in schools, but they can't wear a mask. Okay, fine, let's do that then. Our glorious Education Secretary did state yesterday that he's going to send an air filter to every county in the UK or something to assist with stuff in February if they actually arrive on time. Not really quite sure where that PPE contract has gone. Anyway, so yes, come February there'll be an air purifier for every 3 schools in the UK. Presumably they'll need to congregate a bit. Do people honestly think that congregating large groups of people into a small building with no protective measures in place will reduce the spread of a respiratory illness? I don't know. Think about that. If this was a flu epidemic and you said that to people, they'd look at you like you were completely nuts. And yet, magically, on the libertarian right, it's just a very, very common sense position to take. And I'll say, okay, then don't have kids with masks in schools at all. But I think your kids are going to stay in school for about 2 days. A lot of them are going to test positive tomorrow when they go back. An awful lot more are going to test positive later on in the week when they've been back for a few days. And what happens to a school where, I don't know, say a third of the kids are off and say half the teaching staff are off? That's likely to be a school that's being shut. Okay? Because you cannot physically keep children safe under those circumstances. Not about COVID, but all the other stuff that's likely to go on. So what do we do then? So we have to send kids back to school for their education and then shut schools because we haven't actually thought through the issues. Because, think about the poor deaf children. Well, I'll state categorically here for the record, I don't care about deaf children. I'm saying that because our government patently doesn't. If you look at what's happened to the SEN budgets in various places over the last 10 years, they patently don't care about deaf children, and yet magically during an airborne epidemic, it suddenly becomes a huge issue. What about the deaf kids? What about the deaf kids? What about the deaf kids? Well, whatever. What about the kids and the teaching staff in schools who are effectively once again being thrown under a bus? And you may notice that the government has actually had several weeks to think about this and maybe put some more preventative measures in place, which they haven't done. They announced yesterday in the media stuff so that teachers can read it. Presumably, you have to buy a Daily Telegraph subscription so that you can read what the Education Secretary thinks you should do. There's a representative democracy for you. Anyway, their solution to this is basically, we'll send an air filtration filter unit to schools at some stage, probably in February, depending on who's got the PPE contract. Yeah, and you can share it amongst yourselves. I think somebody did the stats yesterday that they thought it would amount to one air filtration unit to something like 1,100 kids. So as long as they're all congregated in the same classroom, which is another one of the government solutions to this, we accept the kids are going to get COVID, but they mustn't take any measures like wearing masks to prevent it. Great. Anyway, we'll look at the figures this week, but I'm just wondering what the Libertarian right exactly is going to do when schools do actually shut. They'll blame the teaching unions. There you go. Because it can't possibly be that their science is a bit... can it? Anyway, we'll see. I know I'm smiling at this one, and I shouldn't really, because I'm realistically doing what I do. I don't honestly know what I'm going to be doing this week. I don't know because I work in community institutions and I work in people's houses. I have no idea what I am supposed to be doing vis-a-vis not coming in contact with COVID, because I have received no guidance from HMG about this. Once again, it's exactly the same as the beginning of term. Last term, no information, and it might filter through somebody giving it some thought in the next few days. I'll wait and see. Presumably those Christmas parties were keeping everyone busy.